You just know that when Toyota sticks the name Supra on something, it's going to be special. You see, this nameplate has gone back a couple of generations, and each time it's left us with a vehicle that's been very memorable. So we're excited and pretty anxious to drive the brand new Toyota Supra. Now, the reason for that anxiousness is that this car has been co-developed with BMW and has a few BMW parts as well. So let's see if German ingredients can leave a distinct Japanese flavor. Yes, that's right. Toyota has pretty much outsourced the building of its sports car to BMW. And that sounds kind of weird, but I think it works out in the best for both automakers. You see, BMW, well, they make fantastic chassis and really good engines. And that's what we have here in the Supra. That's a turbocharged straight-six engine that makes 335 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And sure, we'd love to get a manual transmission in Toyota's flagship sports car. This automatic is pretty good though. And all of that power is being sent to the rear wheels, and there's a fantastic active differential that can lock those wheels up from 0 to 100%, ensuring that you get the best traction on the road. There's also a ton of technology at play in this vehicle, including several drive modes, like a sport mode and an individualized sport mode. And each one of those settings allows you to adjust the steering, transmission, and edge tuning, not to mention the sound of the vehicle as well. And there's even 3 different traction settings. One that's all on, one that's all off, and one that's somewhere in the middle that's designed for driving on the track. It's a perfect dance partner. You see, it gets out of the way, it communicates to you exactly what is needed from you for being on the track and how you can get more out of each lap. Sure, you might want to see some really impressive number in terms of horsepower, but this is still plenty quick. There's even a launch control function that allows you to hit 60 miles per hour in as quick as 4 seconds. And trust me, that's quick. I mean, that engine, 335 horsepower, doesn't sound like a lot at all, but it gets the job done very easily, especially on the roads. Not too much to get you in trouble, but it is enough for you to have some fun. And it being such a short wheelbase vehicle and with a wide track, this car rotates so easily and it feels so much fun, especially on the track. And there's a lot of engineering that comes to making a car this connected feeling. Some people will say that you need to have a vehicle that's really bare bones and hardcore, but Toyota has taken a different approach. This car is fitted with all kinds of technology. Sure, there's variable steering, but that doesn't really get in the way. It doesn't feel too unnatural. And as I said, when you put it in that sport mode, the car ends up feeling really aggressive. And there's adjustable and adaptive suspension, which does a great job of transmitting just what the car is doing at all times. What's really cool is that Toyota brought some context along with this new Supra. They even brought along one of our favorite cars, the 86. And that's important because a lot of critics really liked the way the 86 drove, and enthusiasts do as well. The only problem with that vehicle is that it didn't have grip and it didn't have a lot of power. Well, the Supra makes sure that you aren't going to be complaining about that kind of stuff. I'm really serious. When I looked at the spec sheet of this new Supra, I thought there might be a little bit of an issue. It weighs nearly 3,400 pounds and it makes just 335 horsepower. I mean, on paper, this thing sounds more like a Mustang or a Camaro, and not even one of the high-end V8 models. I can confidently say, though, that this car handles so differently than those two cars. It's much more engaging and reactive and responsive in a way that I just wouldn't expect a muscle car to ever be like. This is a true sports car, and the whole thing feels wrapped around you, which is very important when it comes to making something that's engaging and fun to drive. And more than just the driving dynamics, there's a pretty impressive car inside the cabin as well, including some first-timers for a Toyota, like wireless Apple CarPlay. The car can also be had with a head-up display, and it has a gorgeous digital dash. There's also a ton of safety technology. That's very important today. Sure, that might not be what you're looking for in a sports car, which is often pared down and simplified, but you're paying $50,000 and you shouldn't get some sort of pedestrian experience. But you should be happy to note that this thing is pretty comfortable for a longer haul. It's just a little tight is all. In fact, once I had the helmet on, I found that the headroom was actually a little bit limiting. And finally, let's quickly talk about design. This is a very dramatic looking car, but you'll be surprised to see that this is much smaller than you might think it is. It's about the same size as an 86. In fact, it's actually got a shorter wheelbase than the 86. That's kind of cool because the FT1 concept that debuted so many years ago in Detroit was a pretty big car. And Toyota explained to me that they weren't quite sure which direction they were going to go with the platform of their vehicle. In fact, there was a chance that it could have been an LC-based car, like the Lexus LC. Instead, we should be happy that we have such a smaller vehicle to enjoy with this platform, and it looks fantastic with massive hips and all sorts of cool swoops going on in the bodywork. Well, German ingredients have made for a very fine sports car. The Supra has power, grip, technology, and personality. So what more could you ask for? Toyota also says this is the fastest car they've ever produced, so it's clearly hitting the mark there. What's left to wonder is if it'll hit the mark with the enthusiasts. So far, the aftermarket community is very interested in this car. That means that this car could be as legendary as all the past Supras as well.